You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
Canadian PM ignites MAGA theory with science lesson based on an article by Adam Lynch. Smoke crosses borders, denial does not. The borders stopped at the smoke. Mark Carney said the quiet part out loud. The United States is part of the climate problem behind the wildfire smoke choking the upper Midwest and Northeast. That was enough to trigger the MAGA panic cycle, because even a basic statement of shared responsibility is treated by the right as an attack when it threatens the fiction that pollution obeys nationalism. The facts in the source are not subtle. Nearly 900 uncontrolled wildfires were burning in Canada. Air quality alerts spread across major U.S. cities, and Chicago and Detroit briefly had the worst air of any major cities in the world. The smoke crossed borders because the atmosphere does not care about political branding. Who actually has power? The real power here sits with presidents, prime ministers, and the parties that keep fossil fuel politics protected while the climate breaks down around them. Carney has power to name the problem. Trump has power to distort it. MAGA has power to turn catastrophe into grievance theater. That is the hierarchy. Republicans in the source do not respond to wildfire smoke with policy because policy would require admitting causation. Instead, they recycle the same move every time, deny the climate reality, then redirect anger at whatever weaker target is available. When the target is a Canadian Prime Minister, it becomes diplomatic bluster. When the target is California, it becomes contempt for a blue state. The script is identical. Misdirection as strategy. Trump's Truth Social post is not a misunderstanding. It is a decision to blame Canada for polluted air while pretending that forest management slogans can stand in for climate accountability. The claim that Canada has refused to engage in basic forest management and debris removal is doing political work, not explanatory work. It shifts attention from a global warming crisis to a narrow, fake technocratic grievance about raking leaves and cleaning brush. That is the core misdirection. Present an accelerating climate disaster as if it were the result of laziness, incompetence, or municipal housekeeping. It is a cheap trick because it flatters authoritarian instincts. If the problem is bad custodians, then the strongman can always promise to punish them. If the problem is carbon, heat, drought, and a warming planet, then the bluster collapses. The useful life of forest management. The source already shows the pattern. Trump used the same accusation against California during historic fires, then floated withholding federal aid for wildfire response. The argument is not meant to solve fires. It is meant to assign blame downward, moralize disaster, and protect the fossilized politics that made the disaster worse. That matters because it reveals how climate denial now functions, not as a rejection of evidence alone, but as a machine for disciplining the public imagination. Fires are recast as local incompetence. Smoke becomes an insult from abroad. Every consequence is translated into a story where no one in power is responsible. What this story really shows, this is not a border story. It is an accountability story. The smoke crossed the border. The blame did not. Republican leaders remain invested in making climate harm feel accidental, temporary, or somebody else's mess. That is how institutional cowardice works when it has a propaganda arm. The larger pattern is simple. When reality is politically inconvenient, the right attacks the messenger, invents a scapegoat, and calls it governance. Climate change will keep producing cross-border consequences whether MAGA admits it or not. The only question is how much damage accumulates while elected officials perform outrage instead of responsibility. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to Ultranet for today's article. With the automated voice of Kuzil, thanks for listening.